Nice little harvest. Believe it or not, this is a beefsteak tomato. Listen, don't come for me because I didn't send for you, okay? It's my first time growing tomatoes. Give me some grace. I know they're not supposed to be that small. That's okay because we're going to fix this next tomato season, okay? Nevertheless, I am so happy. I'm so happy that my tomato plants, they're taking over this whole section of my backyard. Let me bring you guys a little closer. So as y'all can see, it's just so much. I have 6 tomato plants and I only have one beefsteak. It's this one right here. And y'all, I did not think that my beefsteak was going to make it because it was having all kinds of issues and I pruned it down so heavily. And I think that's the reason why it was suffering. I removed so many of the branches. I was going to remove the entire plant, but I'm like, you know what? Let me wait and see what happens. And all of a sudden, it started growing new leaves. So I just allowed the plant to grow and I didn't do any pruning. And now it's filled with little itty bitty tomatoes. I'm guessing that's the reason why the tomatoes are so small. It's good to prune your tomato plants, but there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance of pruning and letting the plant grow. And I need to learn the balance. I went from one extreme, which is pruning almost all of the branches, to the next extreme, which is leaving all the branches. So now I have so many tomatoes. These 3, 2 over here, and I have 1 over here. I planted them, I would have to say maybe a month and a half ago, and they've completely taken over, y'all. We are at the end of September and we need to make a change. I need to make a change. Otherwise, the plants are they're just gonna keep growing and I need to free up my containers. I am gardening in a really, really tiny space. Fall is upon us and I need to use up those containers for my fall plants. So what we're going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be chopping off my tomato plants. Garden term is chopping off because our first frost is not going to be until last year. It was middle of November. So our first frost, and I'm in zone 8, by the way. Our first frost is usually late October, middle November, sometimes late November. The tomatoes that I already have on the plant, I want the plant to focus its energy on ripening those tomatoes instead of growing new branches. So that's the reason why we're going to be chopping off some branches, topping it off so that we can allow the ones that I already have to mature. And at the same time, we can also free up my containers. I don't want the plant to keep growing. I mean, I like the fact that it's growing, it's producing all of those tomatoes, but I need my containers now, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. Again, it's my first time growing tomatoes. I've never done this before. Hopefully I'm doing it right. Let me show you guys how I'm going to be topping them off. Topping off is when you cut off the top growing tip of your plant, basically snipping off the main stem. So for example, this one right here, since we have little tomatoes that are growing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pruner and I'm just going to cut off this. You see how it's growing more flowers? Y'all, if I leave this and let it continue to grow, these flowers are not going to have enough time to turn into fully mature tomatoes. So that's the reason why I'm just going to cut off this branch just so the plant can focus its energy on growing these tomatoes and on ripening these tomatoes. We're also going to be pruning off the suckers. I didn't do that at all, y'all. Not only do I have a lot of suckers, my tomato plants have completely taken over this space. We're going to need to do something about that. A lot of gardeners, they do that to, again, redirect energy so that, for one, you can have bigger tomatoes. The other reason why gardeners do that is to improve airflow. I'm going to be doing that to control the size of my tomato plants. And, like I said, to also free up my containers. I have 6 15-gallon grow bags that I can be planting my fall crops in. I want to use them up. So whatever crops that I'm going to be planting in these containers, I'm going to be starting them indoors. I think I'm going to wait about a couple weeks or so and then start them indoors. That way, this is going to allow time for these tomatoes to mature and ripen. And then a month and a half later, I'll move the fall crops that I started indoors, I'll move them out to these containers. Once the plant ripens, I'm going to just pull them off from the container so I can use it up. Okay, so I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, this is like completely tangled, y'all. I don't even know what's going on over here. Okay, so for this branch right here, hope you guys can see. So this is a main branch, right? And as you can see, there are like small little tomatoes that are starting to form. So what I'm gonna do is cut off this branch because it has these tomatoes that are growing. I'm gonna cut it off from here. And I hope I'm not cutting off too much, y'all. There you go. And then for this one over here, you see how it has like little tomato clusters? We're going to cut it off over here. Now it has some tomatoes that are growing, but it's not going to be enough time for those to grow and ripen and whatnot. So just going to chop it off over here. I feel so bad, y'all. I really do. But at the same time, I need my containers. This is a main stem and it has some flowers that's going to turn into fruit. But again, we don't have time for that. So let's go ahead and you know what? I think I'm just going to cut off the whole thing because there's no tomatoes growing in that. We're just going to cut off the whole thing. There. Whole thing is cut off. I don't know where this begins, where this ends. For this one, we're going to cut this off. This is a sucker. I'm going to cut off this sucker. You see all these suckers that I never prune off, y'all? The plant is taller than me, but then it's on top of this thing. I'm going to continue to do that. The sun is starting to come closer, so I want to get this done. I just wanted to show you guys how to top off your tomato plants once they start getting out of control. So yeah, let's focus our energy on the tomatoes that have formed. I have a monthly planner on my website that tells you exactly what you can start indoors and what you can direct sow every single month based on your zone. Instead of researching monthly like I used to, what should I be planting this month? What should I be planting that month? All you have to do is click on the month. It takes you to that month. And then based on your zone, because every zone is listed on the planner. So go to your zone and it'll tell you what to be planting that month and what you can start indoors. This planner is great if you are a new gardener like I am. It is also great if you have a small space, you want to maximize your space and be growing more food. It's great if you want to do succession planting. Check it out. I'm going to be linking it in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe button. Don't forget to check out my previous video and I will see you all in the next one.